Hey. Hey, come on.
What? I saw it move. See? It flinched, I think.
Hey, welcome Apple Simps. I'm your host, Apple Simp, and everyone knows why we're here today because Apple just dropped tons of new apple juice for us. So we got 3 apple juices here for you. Alright, now without further ado, let's get started. So first off, no iconic good morning. Disappointing, but nevertheless, Apple started off by talking a little bit about some of their products they announced this year. Apple Watches, new iPhones, iPads, Big Sur, iOS, all that good stuff. Alright, lots of good apple juice there. Alright. And then Tim Cook jumped right into the Mac. First thing they told us was there's going to be a family of chips, not just one, but a family of chips over the next few years. It was the first one coming today. A little bit after, we learned that that chip is going to be called the M1 chip. So no A14X, no A14T, all that was wrong. All those rumors and leaks were wrong. M1 chip, focusing on efficiency and power, just like all Apple silicon so far. A couple notes about it. It's an all-in-one chip, single system on chip, single SoC. Unified memory architecture, 16 billion transistors, much more than the A14. Of an 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU, and those 8 cores are split up into 4 high efficiency cores and 4 high performance cores. Very similar to how Apple does their 8 chips right now. The 4 high performance cores are going to be the fastest high performance cores on any CPU, period. That's incredible. One thing they mentioned that was just unbelievable was they pulled up a chart and comparing power consumption to performance, and of course, you know, the Intel i7, i9, 6, and 8 cores, you know, they were way up there in performance, but also way up there in power consumption. They put up the M1 there, they got very similar performance at less than a fourth of the power consumption. That is a very impressive feat of engineering. Apple's calling their M1 chip the highest performance, saying it has the highest performance with the lowest power consumption, and the highest performance per watt on any machine, period. So, before we go on, this chip already mind-blowing. It did live up to the hype. It was worth the wait. Apple not overhyped this at all. The M1 chip, Apple also said that the M1 chip can reach peak performance similar to most PC chips at less than 1/4 of the power. And now going on the GPU, it also has an 8-core integrated GPU, one of the fastest and most powerful integrated GPUs on any machine. Next, something that I was really excited for the first time ever on a Mac, Apple's bringing their legendary neural core engine to the Mac. For the first time ever, the Macs are getting a 16-core neural engine, same as we've had on the iPhones for a couple of years. That neural engine is going to handle all machine learning, AI in the background. It's one of the main things that make the cameras on iPhones fantastic. Apple Silicon, all that was done by the T series of chips in the Macs. Now, what the T series used to do was, of course, it has a secure enclave. All that's in the background takes the load off the CPU. Now, a lot of that's going to be integrated into the M1 chip, and now you're going to have a 16-core neural engine just for all the AI, machine learning, and all the background tasks to free up some space on the CPU. So just to recap, M1 chip. Before talking about any hardware, before talking about what machines that chip is going to be in, 8-core GPU, 8-core CPU system in one chip, 16 billion transistors, 4 high performance, 4 low performance, 1/4 of the power consumption, but similar to peak performance PC chips, and 16-core neural engine. First time. So now Apple showed us this amazing chip, the M1 chip, mind-blowing. It's the next generation of Macs. It's going to open up a lot of new capabilities for the Macs. Now they showed us some of the new things are coming to Big Sur. Now, Big Sur, of course, the latest version of macOS, as we all know, wonderful Apple, lots of Apple juice there. But Big Sur had a lot more capabilities with new Apple Silicon. One of the ones that are really exciting to me is that now your Mac instantly wakes up just like your iPhone and iPad. You know, so you have your iPhone here, it's in sleep, you pick it up, or you tap the screen, it instantly wakes up. That now is going to be instant wake up, no lag, no delay when waking up your Mac, thanks to Apple, thanks to the M1 chip. Also, buttery smooth animation. Just from the video they showed, I saw animations were extremely fast. Now, by no means are the animations now in Big Sur or Catalina slow, but they're just buttery smooth with the M1 chip. Just give a huge buttery smooth with the M1 chip. Gets a huge boost in animation speed. Then you also talk about all of Apple's apps, GarageBand, iMovie, voice memos, Keynote, all of Apple's apps from day one are going to be compatible. So, you know, M1 compatible on day one. Oh, wonderful. Got this chip, great apple juice. Then we got the new features in Big Sur, that enhances Big Sur. More apple juice there, wonderful. Now, what machines is this M1 chip going to go into? So, most are pointing towards one machine, some are pointing towards two, some are talking about an iMac, some said about the MacBook lineup from a few years ago. None of those are true. So, first up, Apple shows us the brand new 13-inch MacBook Air with M1. Same design, exterior design. No cooling on this machine now. M1 makes the SSDs up to 2 times faster on this machine. Everything we just talked about in the M1 is all going to be in this MacBook Air. Just because it's an Air doesn't mean it's going to be watered down by any means. But keep in mind, no cooling. One notable thing, really important thing to know is that M1 allows the SSDs in the MacBooks to be up to 2 times faster. It's going to be incredible read and write speeds. Very excited. Check that out. I'll talk very briefly about the MacBook Air. Still starts at $999, which is really incredible. People thought that Apple Silicon was going to raise up the price of the Macs. That was not the case. Apple kept the prices all the same as before. MacBook Air starts at $999, $899 for education pricing. Talking about the MacBook Air, all the improvements that it's getting with the M1 chip, Apple said, now here's the second Mac we're going to bring on. I was surprised. I'm thinking, oh, they're going to show us an iMac. So are they going to bring us now a desktop? But no, actually, the second Mac that get an M1 is the Mac Mini, which is a fantastic device. I've used one for a couple of years now. Really happy with it. You know, the versatility of it is fantastic. You can get a super powerful small machine. It's just one of this. You can hit any monitor you want to, it. It just makes it for an amazing workstation. So yeah, the Mac Mini is going to be the second Mac to get M1 chip. So, but now one really important part is that with the the M1 is the same as the one in the MacBook Air is going to be the same in the Mac Mini, but now with the cooling system in the Mac Mini, the M1 chip can reach peak performance. So Apple's not watering it down by any means when it's in the MacBook Air. It's still the same chip, but because there is no cooling to avoid any heating issues, Apple does not allow the M1 chip to reach peak performance on the MacBook Air due to lack of cooling. But Mini, Apple says that the M1 will get peak performance. That's going to be really exciting to see. If someone wants to see the peak performance levels of the M1 chip, I'd recommend looking at a Mac Mini. Same improvements in Big Sur is going to be in this machine. Same hardware, nothing's changed there. Hardware, except now they have 2 USB-C ports in the back to support up to Thunderbolt 4. That's fantastic. Other than that, it's the same MacBook. It's the same Mac Mini we've had before. Now with the M1 chip, Apple Silicon in it. All right, great stuff there. And also, guess what? Same pricing as before, starting at $699. Now, after seeing those 2 machines, I was like, okay. Apple gonna, talk to us about future Macs, give us a preview of something else. Is Apple gonna give us a preview of a 2021 Mac of some sorts? No, we're gonna do one more thing because that was the title of this event. One more thing, but no, they actually showed us the third machine that is gonna get the M1 chip, which we weren't expecting. No leaker said there would be 3 brand new machines today running Apple Silicon, and the third one was a MacBook Pro. No, not the 16-inch, which I was looking forward to because I currently have an i9 16-inch, but no, the 13-inch MacBook Pro, their most popular MacBook Pro, and so the inch level MacBook Pro will now get Apple's M1 processor, and their tagline for it is way more powerful, way more pro, and that could not be more accurate. That is the perfect catchphrase for it. Absolutely, it's a much more powerful machine. It was already a powerful machine, now way more powerful, way more pros. People who chose not to get MacBooks in the past. The M1 chip fixes a lot of the issues and adds a lot more performance and a lot more capability to these machines. So wonderful, great stuff. Apple claims that a 13-inch MacBook with an M1 processor is going to see a 2.8 times performance gain over the last generation MacBook Pro 13 running Intel processors. That's a massive gain. 2.8 times performance gain, ladies and gentlemen. That is massive. You don't see that year over year. But again, this is a generational leap rather than just a year-over-year upgrade. 17 hours of web browsing, 20 hours of video. We've never seen those numbers before on a MacBook, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen it on some higher-end Windows machines, but that's not something that you see too often in laptops, let alone in MacBooks. So 17 hours of web browsing, 20 hours of video playback. That is fantastic. Best battery life on a Mac ever, and that's only on a 13-inch. Can you imagine what a 2016-inch MacBook Pro with Apple Silicon would have? What are we looking at? Like 30 hours of video playback, 20 hours of web browsing. It's saying it can take it. You can say on your video calls for 2 times longer. You can do 3 times longer on a 13-inch MacBook Pro. That's the way to see. So besides the performance gains, performance new capability, this is adding, as everyone expected, Apple Silicon is adding huge battery gains to all the machines, which is fantastic. No one was expecting that. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Apple had a 45-minute event, the shortest event in their history. They've had investors conference calls that were longer than that. 45-minute event, ladies and gentlemen. I never thought I'd see a day. Never thought I'd see a day. There's actually 2 things I never thought that I'd see in my lifetime: an 8-core MacBook Air, after seeing the original one in 2010 introduced, and the current generation one. I never thought I would see an 8-core MacBook Air. That's incredible. Also, I would never have thought that I would have lived to see the day that Apple has a 45-minute event. Of course, this is 2020. We're in a pandemic. Everything's different. It's a weird year. I get it. All right, we still got our Apple juice, you know? Just to recap real quick. M1 processor, efficiency and power, 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, extremely powerful, 16-core neural engine. The first of a family of chips. It's going to be in a new MacBook Air and a Mac Mini and MacBook Pro 13. You can order those today. You can pre-order. You can order them starting today. Big Sur will be out on the 17th. You're seeing across the board on all those 3 machines I just named. You're looking at faster SSDs, better RAM management, better FaceTime calls, much longer battery life, huge performance gains. This is, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the future of Mac. This is the next generation of Mac. Anyone who isn't really aware of the magnitude of what happened today, Apple just showed us the next chapter of Mac. Apple, as if the history of Macintosh was a book. Apple didn't just flip a page. Apple opened up a new chapter. This is the future of Mac, ladies and gentlemen. And it's just fantastic. You know, it couldn't be a better time to be an Apple. This is why we simp over Apple, sip on the apple juice, you know? With all that being said, Tim Cook wrapped it up, and we were all just like, what? A 45-minute Apple event. I can't say it enough times. And so basically, let me put it like this. Out of all surprises from today's event, I'm ranking from least surprising to most surprising. No One More Thing. I didn't expect that. That was the title of the event. That event was the One More Thing. Okay, so not surprised. There wasn't, but a lot of people were surprised there wasn't a One More Thing. A little bit more surprising was the battery life of the new machines, of the new MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro with the M1 processor. So they got big improvements in battery life. That was surprising too. The more surprising was the prices did not go up. Apple did not say, "Oh, these are more powerful machines. You can do a lot more on them. They're more expensive." No, Apple kept the pricing and educational discounts all the same. So that was definitely, I wasn't expecting that. I was personally expecting Macs to go up in price. I definitely didn't expect the MacBook Air to still be $999 with the M1 processor. Great value. Next, the performance gains. We all knew they were going to be performance gains. I just didn't know they were going to be this level. We're looking at MacBook Pro 13 being 2.8 times faster than its predecessor. We're looking at massive performance gains, but we all expected that. But the number one most surprising thing today, ladies and gentlemen, to me personally, I don't know about you, but the number one most surprising thing about today's event was it was only 45 minutes. It started at exactly 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and exactly at 1:45 Eastern Standard Time. 45-minute event. I just can't get my head around it. Yeah, we saw some great stuff. Absolutely, it was dense. We got a lot of information, lots of new stuff. We saw the future of Mac. So I was expecting a much longer event. But it's nice that Apple kept it nice and sweet and to the point, just like this apple juice, nice and sweet. Now, before I wrap up this video, I want you guys to go back to sipping the apple juice, and also so you guys can go or pre-order your Apple Silicon Macs. A couple things that rumor mill and leakers got wrong. So, no MacBook. There was no resurrection of Apple's MacBook from a few years ago. You know, the 12-inch ultralight underpowered MacBook with Apple Silicon. No, I kind of thought that would happen, but I was wrong as well. But again, everyone was wrong. So no MacBook, just MacBook Air 13, MacBook Pro 13, and Mac Mini. No 16-inch MacBook Pro. We heard several times up until last night. We were hearing that Apple was going to announce a updated 16-inch MacBook Pro today, either an Intel version with just refreshed specs or a version of the MacBook Pro 16 with Apple Silicon. None of that. No word of the 16-inch MacBook Pro. If someone buys a 16-inch MacBook Pro today, it would be the same one as if they bought it yesterday. There is no difference at all. No One More Thing. Time and time again, at lots of rumors, all the rumors were pointing to it. Leakers were talking about it. Every analyst was saying, yeah, the event's it's called One More Thing, so we're gonna get a one more thing. People thought it was gonna be Apple Glass, it's gonna be an Apple car, it's gonna be an Apple toaster. None of that. No one more thing, and also no air tags. That I wasn't expecting this at this event. Not related to the Macs at all. It would just be weird to have the brand new generation, this generational leap in the Mac lineup. And then you have AirTags. Alright, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to AirTags too, but they're an accessory. They're not going to be the new AirPods. They're not going to be the new Apple Watch, Just Apple making another product, So no AirTags, no one more thing, no 16-inch MacBook Pro, no MacBook. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually really happy that this year Apple has actually kept the rumor mill and leakers guessing. Lots of rumors, lots of leakers have been discredited this year. Lots of rumors turned out to be wrong. And I really enjoy that. There's still, in all of these past 3 events, the September, October, and now the November event, they all had surprises. Until the very last minute, we were still guessing. So, that's all great stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And there you have it. That was the wrap-up of Apple's November Mac event. We are in a new generation of the Mac lineup. I'm very excited to see these performance gains. Me personally, none of these machines I'll be buying personally. I will be talking when reviewers start coming out. I will be updating you guys on some of them, talking about them, having some discussions. However, I won't be picking up any just because right now my main Mac, my main machine on the go is my 16-inch MacBook Pro. I love it. It's a 6-core machine that I love the size of, and I wouldn't go to anything smaller. And then for at home, I do have a few-year-old Mac Mini connected to our television. So I will be picking up any of these Macs, but that doesn't mean that you should. They are wonderful Macs, same pricing as last year. If you were looking at buying any of these Macs, the MacBook Air, 13-inch Pro, or the Mac Mini, now you have even more reason to buy them. Same prices as before with Apple Silicon. This is the future of Macs, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, that's the Apple juice for you. That's the Apple juice for you, Simps. All right, so all right, Simps. I'll let everyone go. Don't forget to take sips of your apple juice. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, like this video, share this video, so we can have the apple orchard, with all the Apple Simps. We can all sip together. Make sure to follow Instagram and Twitter at the Apple Simp, _Apple Simp. All right, everyone. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for now. Hope to see you all next time. Stay safe. And don't forget to take your sips of the apple juice.